Hello and welcome to the Otaku Network podcast. My name is Steve.
And I'm David.
And we are into week 10 of the spring season of 2024. We are apparently getting close to the end of the shows. Well, at least two of them, we suspect. This week in Seiyuu Radio, we have Yumiko again doing a recording session for the mecha anime, and she still doesn't think she's doing a good enough job. She's having to do some retakes. Everyone else in the cast is trying to do the best they can to encourage her and keep her spirits up. Pretty much the rest of the episode is a setup for Yumiko to have a heart-to-heart conversation with Otome and Meikuru. So we skip over to a live event where Meikuru, who's playing MC and contestant, along with Otome and Yumiko and Chika performing as a pair, are competing with each other to try and win a gift certificate for a high-end yakiniku restaurant. But it's more just an excuse for them to do a public event, continue to try to raise the profile as voice actors. The event features things like acting out stereotypical scenes in anime like love confessions. They do a dodgeball competition at one point, singing, dancing. It's kind of a showcase of their talents and abilities to try to win between the three different teams the favor of the audience. Undoubtedly, in the end, Otome wins, which depresses Yumiko and Chika because they had planned ahead of time to try and win the gift certificate and use it to bring Meikuru out to dinner to thank her and apologize for everything she's done for them lately. Between both professionally working to support them and supporting them during their wandering through the unwashed masses to save their careers. Meikuru wanted nothing to do with that. She's still really pissed at them and is trying to keep her professional life separate from her personal life and really just doesn't want to be friends with voice actors to begin with. Otome won, but the girls all still get to go out to yakiniku because Otome decided to use the gift certificate to take all three of the girls out to dinner anyways. Meikuru is a severe fangirl for Otome, even though they're both relatively the same age, and is moderately uncomfortable during dinner to the point where she drinks a little bit too much. Her and Yumiko are in the bathroom, and Meikuru kind of like breaks down, freaks out. They get back, and Chika excuses herself because she has an early day. So right away, Yumiko takes the opportunity because she wanted to have Otome and Meikuru alone in a situation like this to bring up a question, to seek guidance from them. She's coming to two senior voice actors that she respects and looks up to with her problem of self-confidence. She wants to try to figure out how to get over this hurdle that she keeps running into, that she feels is causing her to not do as good of a job in the role as she needs to do. Discussion happens between the three girls. Probably the most important thing that we get out of it is when Otome was starting out, she was in a similar situation where she had another peer who she was a silent rival with because she recognizes that Chika and Yumiko are rivals with each other as well, and tells Yumiko that the best person for her to ask this question to is her rival Chika. And when Otome was starting out, she had a similar situation where she should have asked her rival for help and a outsider's perspective that's familiar with what she's going through to try to become a better voice actor. And she let it go because she couldn't bring herself to show weakness in front of this woman that she considered a rival. So she really presses Yumiko into the idea that Yumiko really just needs to talk to Chika about it.
It was very slow. The concert thing at the beginning took up half of it. I wasn't disappointed, nor was I like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, it didn't really... like I said, everything was set up for Yumiko to have this intimate conversation with both Otome.
Meikuru. They should have just opened the episode with that.
Well, we probably have... I think we've got 2 more episodes.
Probably.
Seeing as this series started a week into the season, it's safe to assume that it was only afforded a 12-episode slot.
Yeah.
We'll see some kind of resolution, whether or not it'll be the end, because I'm pretty sure that the material goes beyond the story that we're covering anyways.
I think so.
So we'll see what happens in 2 weeks. But next week we've got, I don't know, maybe the confession.
Maybe.
Or build up into the confession if we are actually going to get a Yuri ending. But
Maybe.
I think probably spend a lot of time with Yumiko going back and forth internally, fighting over whether she needs the help more than she wants to save whatever face she thinks she has in front of Chika. Chika knows she's struggling and doing bad, so it's not like Yumiko is hiding anything.
Right.
By not coming to her and asking for help. I guess she just doesn't want to show
Also,
weakness.
I think the confessions part of the contestant or the competition was foreshadowing.
I think that was too. Yeah, I was thinking about that as well when they were doing that. Because the first part that the performance or that the live show started out with was each of the teams had to do a scripted confession to try to convince the audience of who was able to do it better. Yeah, I don't know. Episode was fine. It wasn't terrible, but we really didn't progress the plot very far.
It's not the dumpster fire that is the next anime. You guessed it, ladies and gentlemen. Remonster is a fucking dumpster fire. This week's episode is continuing on where we last left Parabellum, as they are picking up this tomboy princess and trying to take her back to the capital city. They come across this town called Mason, where Oguro and the merry band of idiots basically almost get pitchforked and torched, but then the princess is like, I am the princess. And everybody, fell in line. They then have a party where Oguro shows off his godly powers of I can drink more than everyone else. Basically drinks them under the table. After this, they kind of all set out, and the two blonde cooks complain about being exhausted from cooking. They continue on their adventure, and suddenly a scream from the caterpillar carriage, where we find out that the two blonde girls are pregnant with Oguro's children. And then we get this whole backstory about how the ogre kids are gonna sap away the strength of these human girls because contrived plot device. Oguro baby birds his body into their body so that they can have a calorie-dense meal.
Oguro tears his arm off and offers to feed it to them, which they rightly are like, we're not going to eat your body. You are not Jesus. So he then decides...
What do you mean? He's Ogre Jesus.
Yeah. So he starts chewing off chunks of his own arm because, fine, whatever. Chewing it up and feeding them like birds. Forcing them in a rather sexualized manner in how that was drawn and portrayed. So he feeds them he's apparently a whale. This is calorie dense.
Yeah. He probably ate a whale at some point, and now he's killed. He probably got calorie density.
Yeah, it's one of his skills.
And so he does this. They murder some four-armed bears.
Take over
their cave to make it a nursery. And then
not a nursery,
an operating room where he does a C-section, thankfully off screen. I don't know if I could have handled that being on screen.
I was wondering if they were going to do that.
I don't know if I could have handled that on screen. And then we see his two children. One a daughter, the other a son. The daughter he names Oro, and the other Argentum, because one, the daughter has a gold crystal on her, or a gold gem thing on her hand, and his son has a silver crystal on his hand. And because AU on the periodic table is gold, and AG, or Argentum, on the periodic table is silver, that's how he chose the name for his children.
Yep.
I haven't shared this, but I'm working on getting a PhD in chemistry, and I immediately caught on to the stupidity of these names. He literally named them gold and silver in Latin. And so now we have the two Wonder Twins, and it gets stupider.
Well, so they're in a new territory, and they've got to rest for a little bit.
Oh yeah, so they're in this new territory so that, the mothers can recuperate after their C-sections.
And miraculous Jesus healing.
And miraculous Jesus healing.
I was thinking about that. That power would be quite useful for pregnancies.
It would, but
Oguro's healing ability.
He would be causing most of the pregnancies.
He is causing most of the pregnancies at this point.
He's
causing all the pregnancies at this point.
Fair. Sweet dick music. He comes across this magnificent winter stag that he's ready to fight.
Though he's not sure if he can fight it.
But he's not sure if he can fight it. And then the deer's just here, have my antlers, and then fucks off.
Yeah, your level is too low.
Yeah, he basically pulls your level's too low, level up, and then we can fight some other time, and fucks off into the distance. Oguro's I'm gonna eat this, and then he's wait, I should save this for my children, and then puts it into his box of holding, and then comes across a group of humans fighting basically beasts of chaos from Warhammer Fantasy. And he watches until this big boss that he names Balor is like about to do his super ultimate jujutsu.
I was going to Kamehameha them.
Yeah, he was about to like ninjutsu, jujutsu kaisen, Kamehameha, these humans that he's fighting. And then Oguro just like flechette cannons dude and blows him to smithereens in a spectacularly
gratuitous,
stupid way. He then is like, I might have to fight these people. And he's like, actually, I'm going to pretend to not be me, and I'm going to pretend that I'm my own boss, and like offers to heal these humans. And then they're like, oh yeah, we totally accept your healing. And then he like packages up the dead, whatever, the beast of chaos, and then like wanders off on his merry way. And then the leader human is like, we wouldn't have been able to fight him because I have an ability called Premonition of Death, and I saw us all dying, so that's why we didn't fight him. And I'm like,
if Oguro knew he had that ability, he totally would have eaten him on the spot.
Yep.
Like, oh, this would be a great power to use. So then Oguro fucks back to the cave.
They eat the staghorn.
The kids, him, and then the one woman,
The redheaded bitch.
who mutated into like the creature eating.
Yeah. And now she's a sacred creature eater.
Yeah, now she hunts like spiritual beasts.
Pretty much. Oguro goes to bed, and guess the fuck what? Home dog levels up into God.
Yeah, Oguro has exceeded his experience cap for his class and is given the option to upgrade into a extinct being.
He becomes God.
Yeah.
He even has the God pants.
Yeah, there's a segment at the end of the credits where Oguro shows up and everybody's like, why are you so short? And it was hard to tell that he was short because he was just him standing in the
entryway.
In the entryway, bathed in the light of a deity with like hammer pants.
So I didn't get to watch the episodes until day of recording. And so I was with Steve watching these episodes, and he got to experience live my true and utter disdain for this show.
I got to see David's live action trauma.
And every time I have to watch this show, I question why I picked it. It was to make Steve be the one that suffers. But then I ultimately caused my own suffering.
Remonster is one of those shows where you don't want to watch it and your parents come in. Not because it's necessarily perverted, but because they're going to question why your taste in what you consume is so low.
Yeah, I feel sorry for your wife and child having to watch that with us.
Yeah, they were watching it with us. It was funny.
I felt so bad that they had to watch that with us.
To be fair, they probably didn't enjoy Seiyuu Radio either.
That was really boring.
Nor did they really enjoy Astro Note. Remonster's going to remonster. So
Remonster will always remonster, and it's fucking miserable.
So that spoiler from a month ago or so,
was that it?
That was the kids thing.
I
knew his offspring were coming.
God, it took that long for that to show up. Holy shit. God, Pat, you could have given us.
No, it wasn't him.
Oh, I thought it was Pat.
No, it was from an anime adjacent company I follow on Twitter and Facebook.
Okay. Well, fuck.
Yeah, I knew Oguro was getting chillins back in March or April.
God, and he's such a fucking American soccer dad over those kids. My kids are geniuses. Shut the fuck up. Oh, you simp.
You know, so the episode paced well.
Sure.
I mean, it moved through things pretty quickly.
Yes.
Though they spent a lot of time on the pregnancy thing.
It was so cringe.
When the princess flashed her insignia,
I'm
pretty sure that Oguro, like, for a second, he's like, do I just eat her?
Maybe.
And then gain the power of her family's crest?
Maybe.
That would be funny as hell. It would be like, oh, game over. He's now the king.
Oh, God. Oh, God. How does that work? Oh.
I'm pretty sure that's an avenue that the author did not travel down. Right away, I'm like, if I was Oguro, I'd have eaten her right then and there.
He could become God and king. He'd be a God king.
He'd be a pharaoh. He'd be Jesus. He's Jesus.
He'd be the God Emperor of mankind.
Body of ogre.
Forms the Imperium. The Imperium of Man. Space Marines. I shall form them in my own image. Oh my God, this episode.
Just remember his children are cousins.
The aneurysm's kicking in hard.
We have 3 more episodes to get through before we're done with the show. The show's probably not going to be done with us, but we're going to be done with it by the time of episode 13's conclusion. So we'll see where the story goes.
I'm just worried that I'm going to be curious enough to wonder how it ends.
This week's episode of Astro Note begins with the Astro Lodge getting its new resident in the form of Shoin Ginger. We saw him at the end of the last episode coming out of room 8, making Aoi believe that the benevolent
Octo-san.
Yeah, Octo-san is Shoin. So Mira introduces Shoin to everybody, letting them know that he is moving in. They rightfully question why a wealthy foreign member of royalty
dignitary
is moving into their rundown share house, and she tells them that he just wants to learn how they live. Shoin almost blows his cover.
He calls them plebeians.
Plebeians, yeah. It's like, I'm interested in learning how the lowly people of your planet live, and then Mira has to like jump in and...
She means country.
Yeah.
Because Tomohiro is up his ass immediately.
Oh, yeah. He like gets on him right away. He's like, weird choice of words there, my friend.
He fumbles through his words.
We have Shoin now living in the lodge, which emboldens Takumi to ratchet up his attempts to court Mira, which he's still going at quite strongly, even though he knows that she's an alien destined to be queen of a galactic civilization.
She's half human, though. He's got this. He knows it's possible to reproduce with them.
So he asks her out on a date to go see Teruko in an upcoming performance that she's going to be doing. She's so receptive to it that he's like, let's do dinner. And she's like, that'd be great. Where should we go? And he's like, I don't know. I'm not sure. Where do you want to go? And she's like, I want to go to an aquarium because I hear they have all sorts of tasty fish there. Takumi gets a little concerned, tells her that you don't go to an aquarium to eat things, but we can still go to the aquarium anyways. So it's a date. It's a day-long date. Aquarium, dinner, performance. What could be worse?
What could go wrong? And suddenly, it all went wrong.
Shoin isn't impressed with the plebeian reality as Mira is gushing over the breakfast of natto on rice and salmon.
He does like the salmon.
He likes the salmon, even though not the parts that Mira has exception for. Because Mira likes the skin. Interesting.
Never really tried salmon skin.
Yeah, I don't like fish in general, so I'm not going to. Anyways.
I love fish.
It's hard to tell if Shoin was actually being competitive or not, but he provides dinner that evening because he had heard that they were planning on doing a welcoming party. So Shoin goes out and orders a bunch of takeout. High-end takeout.
Oh, yeah.
And what's funny is they're going over the different items. He's like, oh, it didn't cost very much, because obviously his perspective is very different from their perspective.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Caviar, like world-renowned French food, expensive champagne. Yeah, Takumi loses. But, he's deep in his heart, he knows you can buy all the quality food you want, but cooking comes from the heart. So he thinks he still has some hope. Following day, Teruko's performance almost gets put to the wayside when she falls victim to an attack from the hubbies that was directed at Mira or Takumi, we're not sure, in the form of a very active bamboo sprout that explodes out of the ground and knocks her into the sky.
It is amazing that she only sprained her ankle from that fall.
She got knocked above the roof line.
Yep. She lost a shoe, too.
She did lose a shoe.
I knew that was the indication that she was going to sprain her ankle.
Mira, recognizing what happened and it being her fault, is beside herself with guilt.
Yeah.
So comes to Teruko's room to try to, make amends. We find Teruko in a bit of a morose mood, particularly over the news of a retired idol, the idol that all the guys thought Ren was fascinated with when they found out that he was a crossdresser.
Yeah.
During the night of the welcoming meal, Teruko had found a news article that the idol who is now retired is getting married to a rich tech CEO. And Teruko kind of confides in Mira that she and the other woman pretty much started being idols at the same time. But no matter how much she worked and how hard she pushed herself, she just has struggled to find the success that she sees all of her peers around her gain. And she doesn't know why. And it kind of makes her upset that this is the path in life that she's chosen for these past 35 years, essentially. Yeah, we find out Teruko is a bit older than we originally estimated. With the guilt that Mira is feeling, she kind of calls off the date with Takumi, though they're still going to the performance because she wants to support Teruko, but they're not going to the aquarium. We then slide into the next breakfast, and Shoin has convinced Takumi to teach him how to cook. with Shoin's reasoning being he'd like to be able to prepare, some food for Mira so that she can eat it once she gets back to the planet of Wid. Takumi's like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I guess she would want to go back home. We then cut to a scene where Takumi and Mira are walking through town, and they're kind of discussing. He brings up that he's teaching Shoin how to cook and the reason for it. And Mira starts to get an internal dialogue of thinking that Takumi wants Mira to leave. That his talking about Shoin thinking about Mira and once they eventually return home as being he's hoping she returns home. They go to the concert. Concert goes off really well. Teruko has kind of a self-realization where she knows she's been failing this entire time, but even after all these years, she's still not ready to give up, and she now has a renewed vigor to push herself even further to be a successful pop idol. Get back home, Mira decides that she wants to learn how to cook too. She can't cook at all. It's terrible. It burnt. Horrible. So on the way home from the concert, Takumi and Mira are again having a heartfelt conversation. And just before Mira is about to actually start being open and honest with Takumi, the old woman shows up and interrupts the shit out of them.
I hate that fucking old lady.
So I think we were really, really, really close to Mira being open and honest with Takumi. It would change everything. But of course, we can't have that happen because we have a couple more episodes left.
I hate that old lady.
The end of the episode has the three aliens kind of doing more research, trying to figure out what's up with the hubbies. And Mira comes to the conclusion that the hubbies are attacking Takumi. In this idea, they realize, comparing new photos versus old photos at the front of the house, that at one point the house had a bigger front yard that over the years must have gotten reduced in a street widening effort at some point. They can tell because the sign's name uses the non-Astro name, its original Japanese name that I can't remember exactly. And in looking at the older photo, they realized that what looks like the key they're looking for was literally just displayed in the garden at that point. So now they have an idea of what it looks like. It's on to finding it. Hubbies are trying to find it as well.
I think it's in that goddamn basement.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
It's probably in that basement. Why do we keep focusing on that plum shit?
True. Good episode, as always.
Fantastic.
It was really good to finally see some more background on Teruko.
Yes.
The slow burning mutual interest between Takumi and Mira is coming to a head. But we had that comical interference, to kind of push it along even further, to drag it out as the story keeps going because we've got a little bit more story to tell.
Hate that old lady. She should have stayed in Osaka. I don't like her. It's annoying.
Yeah, it was a good episode.
Or at the Bug Festival, she should have talked so much that she took off and flew away.
So we've got Shoin living in the house, being a daily, consistent reminder to Takumi of competition and or Mira's outerworldly origins, obviously.
Yeah.
That he's fully aware of. And that all of them are freely converse with him about being aliens.
Yeah.
So there's that level of comfort that probably takes a lot of stress off of his mind anyways, dealing with the whole situation. He's essentially gone, well, I mean, it's real, so I just got to roll with it the best I can.
Yeah. He's become one of the team.
Yeah. So I guess all we have left is plot resolution with the hubbies. We have to meet the hubbies.
Yeah, we need to see what the hubbies look like.
They have to show up, finally. We've seen Dr. Claw-esque silhouettes of an arm, in
I'll
previous
get you
episodes.
next time, Gadget.
Yeah, they'll definitely show up. I mean, they can't. They can't not make their presence known. But I wonder, at the culmination of the story, how many of the residents of Astro Lodge are going to find out that Mira is not human?
That's a good question.
And we still have to learn. Well, we know a little bit about Tomohiro's past, but I'd like to learn more. And we definitely need to learn more about Shochiki's past.
Yeah.
But otherwise, the series has done really well in fleshing out its characters and the natural progression of the story.
I just had an idea.
What was your idea?
What if Shochiki is like Naosuke, but he's in a human disguise?
Maybe. He could be a wid. Who knows? Probably not. But
probably not. But wouldn't that be the plot twist of the fucking century?
That would be pretty fun.
Like Mira's mom left him there to take care of
the love of her life.
Yeah.
Tasca.
Yeah. Tasca.
Yeah.
What if he has a human disguise and that and the reason he takes Naosuke all the time is because he knows Naosuke is a weed.
No, he's not a weed, but
or the protector of the weed royal family. Like
species
same. What if they're the same species?
That'd be funny.
Oh, that'd be fucking hilarious.
That'd be really funny.
Oh my god.
I don't think it's gonna happen, but that would be really funny. That would be a lot of fun.
Because they live so long. Like they said, they live much longer than.
And he's been there for decades too.
Yup. What if?
It's a nice idea. I like it.
What if? Oh, hire me immediately. Come on, sign me on. I'll finish writing the rest of the series. That'd be the plot twist of the century. I would be like hook, line, and sinker. Like, yep, you got me. I'm in. God, what if I'm right?
We have at least 3 more episodes.
I know we have at least 3 more episodes. No, this episode, fantastic.
It was a good episode. Yep.
Best of the 3, which it consistently does.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
you and I individually picked some stinkers.
Seiyuu Radio. Yeah,
it is borderline Yuri.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just this story is just.
Well, like it's sorry, I shouldn't say it like that. It's Yuri when we didn't expect it to be Yuri.
Yeah.
We thought it was just gonna be like this cool anime about like
voice acting,
working in the voice acting industry.
Yeah.
And then it's like
no, it's this whole drama thing.
Drama, Yuri subplot.
Yeah.
Like
will they, won't they?
Subverting our expectations.
Yeah.
We're just like, huh.
Seiyuu Radio this week was way too long for too little content.
Yep.
It wasn't bad. It was a lot of time wasting.
It was kind of a filler.
Yeah, weirdly it was, but I would assume that that's just part of the normal story.
Probably.
It didn't feel like filler because usually a filler episode would just be a recap of what's happened in the series so far, with maybe like half of the episode being new material.
Right. It feels like it was filler material.
Yeah.
It feels like a filler material that like an American show would do.
Yeah, there was
where there's like no plot progression. It's just like a silly subplot.
Yep.
And you're just like, huh?
It wasted a lot of time.
It wasted a lot of time.
Remonsters
is a dumpster fire.
It's just Remonster. It kept going. We got to open up into a whole new world of lore with it, though, with this whole god tier. What was it? Epic level beings.
Yeah.
That Oguro is. I'm sure he is now evolved into this extinct being. I forget what his name is. He has a proper name now. Remonster doesn't disappoint because we have no hope for it.
That's speaking for one of us.
Astro Note, though, continues to be really good. It's such a fun show.
I even liked the little like Aoi realizing that Shoin is not Octo-san.
Yeah.
Like who was there before? I'm glad
that they immediately squashed the idea that there could be this like second romance thread for Aoi.
Yeah.
With Shoin. I'm glad that they just like did not even come into the picture at all. Had no time to germinate or anything.
Naosuke was a little tame this episode.
He's sensitive to what's happened to Aoi.
Yeah.
And so he's been kind of trying to have other people tiptoe around her
insecurities
because of
like,
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really think he cares like a ton.
He does care.
He cares a ton.
I think it's just the nature of his species to be. They're a species of protectors.
Yeah, and he's starting to actively care for the residents of Astro.
Okay, so it brought up the idea of possibility that the show could end with Mira ascending to queenhood and then bringing the court, or at least the center of power, or at least her part of it, to the Astro Lodge.
Yeah.
Okay. If the show can build an attachment for Naosuke to agree with it more than just having to follow Mira's rules, it's more likely to happen, or it's more believable.
Yeah.
So that Naosuke's attachment could be his growing fondness and concern for Aoi.
Yeah.
It would be one of the things of I don't want to lose this. I think let's do this instead of resisting her 100%. Who knows?
Who knows? I'm excited. I also don't want this anime to end, but it's got to. Or 13 seasons. Let's go.
Oh, no, please no. Just wrap it up in episode 13 with just a really good ending. Just land it perfectly.
I could maybe see them try to push it out to 2 seasons, but we don't know.
What I could see is eventually a movie.
Or a movie, yeah. I'll agree to a movie.
Maybe a movie. But who knows how well it's done with
Japanese audience.
Its viewership and sales and whatnot. I mean, it's original material, so it doesn't.
It pops up on the like popular scroll on Crunchyroll.
So there's an organization that tracks viewership, spending, buying habits, whatever in Japan. It's called Oricon. I need to take a look at the the recent Oricon weekly ratings for anime to see what kind of market share the series has gotten. All right. Anything else?
Not that I can think of.
All right. Yeah, it was a pretty quick week.
It was a pretty quick week.
2 of the episodes were
Filler.
forgettable.
Filler.
Astro Note just maintained. It was good.
Dare I say great.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Don't forget, like, subscribe.
Share us to your friends and family.
Yeah.
Or other fellow otakus.
Yeah. All right. Thanks again. See you next time.